Hi there, I'm Woolly Wormhead and welcome to my channel. I'm a knit designer specialising in knitted hats, technique and construction. Now for today's tutorial, I want to show you how to do a stitch pattern that's known as Seafoam Stitch. I've used it in a number of my hats. I love it. It's really open and lacy and it's really easy to knit. So let me just quickly show you a couple of the hats that we use this stitch pattern. This is Marina. It's knitted sideways, so it means it's worked from side to side this way. And it's based in garter stitch, which makes it nice and easy. And I love the way that when it's worn, it opens out. You can see the little kind of like the offset little shapes that created, and it works really well with variegated yarn as shown here. This pattern is called Jetty. Okay, and this is a vertically knit beret. This is looking at it from the top, and it's worked in the round instead of sideways. And the camera, I don't want the camera to go out of focus if I keep doing that too much, but that's how it can be worked in the round. And it just looks beautiful with a variegated yarn. I also have a pattern called Laminard, which is not dissimilar to Marina. It's knit sideways, except it has some colour work in it, and it's worked at a different gauge. And because the colour work is in there, the pattern looks ever so slightly different. And my partner, who has been designing the range that we call the flat out woolly range, because I only design hats, but lots of people are interested in accessories that match my hats. So the flat out woolly is literally my partner designing flat items like cowls and scarves, and we're going to be moving into shawls and things hopefully. He's designed the Marina companion, which matches both the Marina hat and the Jetty hat because it uses the same stitch pattern. Now, in my Ravelry group and Facebook group and on the forum on my website, we have monthly knit-alongs, what we call monthly hat-alongs, and we have a hat for the month feature. And we normally kind of have that theme based around a technique. Sometimes it might be a shape or a particular hat style, but it's usually about looking at particular techniques. And for May 2025, we are looking at dropped stitches. So all of my hats that use dropped stitches are the featured hats for that month. And anybody that knits one of the featured patterns is in with a chance of winning a prize. And this year, because it's my 20th anniversary of being a knit designer, each prize that is on each platform, which is Ravelry, Facebook, and my website, or the forum on my website, there is a chance of winning an ebook of your choice. And that's the same every month for this year as a special prize. You get an ebook. So I'm going to now switch to the overhead and I'm going to show you how this stitch pattern works, how it's knit, how easy it is, and how it can be adjusted. And then you can get going and have a working on one of these hats, and I hope you'll join us on the forum for the monthly hat along. Okay, so here we have a little swatch that I've prepared for this workshop, for this demo. It already has a few rows of this pattern worked, and we can see how it opens up there and there. And now this swatch has got a 5-stitch border either side. Because the stitch pattern is very open, it needs something to stabilize it. So that's why on the hats, when it's worked sideways, you've got a nice brim that helps kind of support it. If I didn't have that here, it would kind of look quite distorted at the edges. So this is a stitch pattern that does need to have kind of some sort of edge treatment to help keep it stabilized. Now, all that's needed to create this pattern is to know how to do knit stitches and yarn overs, and that is all it is. We look at the swatch here, we can see that there's a series of yarn overs here and series here and here and here. So they are offset. The clusters are offset, and between them 2 rows are worked, 2 plain rows of garter stitch. All right, so create an extra ridge between them. So what I'm going to do, get that cat hair out. Please leave cat hair. Nope, doesn't want to know. Okay, cat hair staying in the knitting. I'm going to start now to knit the first row of the next part of the stitch pattern, which will, because I've done 2 repeats on here, I'm now going to start the next repeat. Now this is worked across a multiple of 10. You can adjust that if you want to make it across a multiple of 4 or even 12. What you've got to do is you've got to remember that it's got to be an even number, because however many stitches you work the clusters across, you've also got to have plain amount of regular knit stitches not worked to offset it, so that you can make this offset pattern. And if you do adjust it, be mindful about where you are putting the extra yarn overs. That'll make a bit more sense once we get going. So I'm just going to knit the border stitches here. Handy tip here is whenever you've got a border, always put a little stitch marker in there, because then you don't lose your place and get muddled up. So we are now going to work, this is worked across multiple of 10, we're going to work the first cluster across these first 5 stitches here. So the first stitch, you knit 1 and we create 1 yarn over. Then for the rest of the pattern, or for the next 3 stitches at least, we do double yarn overs. So that's 1 there. This is the second one with a double yarn over. Third one with a double yarn over. And then the last one has a single yarn over. So if you do work this across a different multiple, always keep a single yarn over at the edge, because that helps kind of create that oval to it. All right, it helps softens it and makes it more kind of like eye-like, or that kind of shape. Extra stitches in the middle, if you wanted to, you could put extra yarn overs, or you could just keep it as a double yarn over. The more yarn overs you put in, if you put in a triple yarn over, you'd make a really deep lace pattern, which could look lovely, but you know, you've got to keep it stable. Remember what I was saying, that it needs an edge treatment, this fabric. So we've worked first cluster there of yarn overs, and now we're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are ready to work the next one again. So we do knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, double yarn over, knit 1, double yarn over, knit 1, double yarn over. So that's how 3 double yarn overs worked. And then we have to work 1 more with a single yarn over. Now that one is often the one that gets forgotten, the one at the end. So don't miss that one out. So make sure that you've always got 5 stitches with yarn overs. And if we have a pull them up here, there's our first one with a single yarn over. There's 1 with a double, 2 with a double, 3 with a double, and then 1 with a single at the end here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is space here, there's another 10 stitches remaining to put another repeat in. So we go knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, double yarn over, knit 1, double yarn over. How many have we worked here? We've done single, double, double, so we need to do another double. And then 1 more single. And I've got 5 stitches left, 2, 4, 5. So that's one way of telling that I've actually managed to do the repeat correctly, and I've put the right amount of yarn overs in by seeing how many stitches I have left to get to the border. Now, on the return rows, we have to drop those yarn overs. Don't do anything else with them, you just drop them. You knit the knit stitches and you drop the yarn overs. Just want some more yarn. Let's come back here. So, we had 5 plain stitches. And here we have the first yarn over, or the last one that was worked, but the first one on the wrong side. We just drop it off the needle, knit that stitch. Then we've got a double, drop it off, knit the stitch. Double, drop it off, knit the stitch. Double, drop it off, knit the stitch. And we keep going that way all the way across. So on the return row, on the wrong side row, whenever you meet a yarn over on the wrong side, just drop it. Single or double, just drop them. Okay, we're coming on to the last cluster now. And then we go to the edge. I want to have a look at what it looks like on the right side of the work. Okay, so there we can see in the middle where the longer yarn overs are, it's quite stretched, and that's why we keep the single yarn overs to the edges to help us make that shape. You can also see that it's very, very floppy and loose, which is why it needs some stabilization. So that's why I've got a border on here to help stabilize it. But also we put 2 plain rows of knit stitches, i.e. 1 ridge of garter stitch in between each part of the pattern to give it some stability. Because a fabric that's all yarn overs can be very beautiful, but have no stability to it. So it means it stretches out of shape and distorts quite easily. So the garter stitch around it helps us make sure that the pattern remains nice and stable. I'm knitting very quickly. I do apologize if I go out of focus, but I want to get this done so I can show you what it looks like before you would then move on to the next part of the pattern. Because we've worked the clusters in one place, but we now need to work them another row of clusters, another repeat to offset them, because this pattern does need to be offset for it to be truly effective. Which means if you ever design anything with it, you always got to keep that in mind when you do your repeats. So I'm just going to knit one more row. Back. See, we've got no yarn overs to do on this wrong side of the row. Okay, almost there. My cat hairs are just, well, not my cat hairs. I mean, I'm not a cat, but the hairs of my cats keep getting everything. I keep trying to look them at the studio, and it's like they know when I'm going to come in and film something. They just come in and just sit on everything and put cat hairs and everything. Right, so we're at the end now. Okay, so now we can see we've got an extra ridge worked across the top there, which helps stabilize it. And now means that what we're going to do is now we need to work this cluster, which is going to be worked across these stitches here. So I won't work this all the way across because basically it is exactly the same. All you'll need to do is to offset it by 5 stitches or half of the repeat. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we knit 5 over where we worked the cluster before. Then we do K1, yarn over, K1, double yarn over, K1, double yarn over, K1, double yarn over, 3 double yarn overs there, K1, single yarn over, and then we K5 again. And you repeat this all the way across the row. I'm not going to finish this up because I think you're going to have the gist by now. 2, 4, 5. So when you work across, finish this to the end of the row. Then when you get to the wrong side row, you drop all the yarn overs, exactly the same as you did before. And then you work 2 plain rows of garter stitch in between. And that's it. That opens it out like this. And blocking this fabric helps really open it up. Now let me just, while I've got the overhead, put this under here. Now this is worked in Malabrigo Rios. And look at the way that's opened out and the way that the pattern forms. Isn't that beautiful? It loves variegated yarn. Now, if you wanted it to be more open, you could knit it on slightly bigger needles. Because it's a hat and I wanted some nice firm brim, I did not open it out as much as it could have been. It can be much lacier if you want to by using larger needles or finer yarn. And this is the companion here that's got the same stitch pattern again in a lovely variegated yarn. And it looks really, really nice once it's all blocked out. Okay, I hope that was helpful in showing you how to knit this seafoam stitch, how to work the multiples, how to offset the clusters of dropped yarn overs or drop stitches. And if you want to, you know, go and design something with it, do remember that you can adjust it, just kind of keep it, the multiples an even number, so you could work half clusters and offset them, or clusters across half the number of stitches and offset them, and do give it some stability along the border in between as well. Okay, if you can do the YouTube thing of subscribing, liking, following, sharing, that would be much appreciated as I try and grow my YouTube channel and help get my techniques out to more knitters. Thanks for following. See you next time.